For those of you who don't know, my name is Joe Martucci. I'll be the MC for this evening. And at this time, I'd like to bring up Mr. John Lazar, the president of our Alumni Association.
Good evening, and welcome to the 19th annual Matawan Football Alumni Foundation Hall of Fame ceremony. This dinner serves to honor our players, football program, and communities past, while also raising money for our yearly scholarship awards. I'd like to take a quick minute to recognize some of the honored guests we have with us joining us tonight. From Aberdeen, Councilman Greg Cannon, Councilman Artie Hirsch, Councilwoman Connie Kelly, Councilman Joe Martucci, Councilwoman Margaret Matawan. Joining us from Matawan, the Honorable Mayor Joseph Altamonte, Council President Dina Gunn, former Councilwoman Josie Salvatore. From the Matawan Aberdeen Board of Education, we have Mr. Jack Montone joining us. And Matawan Regional High School Principal Mike Wells. Tonight we are also fortunate to have members of the Aberdeen PBA joining, as well as the Matawan PBA. Kathy Zavorskis, the president of the Matawan Historical Society, is also present. This annual banquet would not be possible without the tireless work of our organizing committee, who put in countless hours year after year to make this event happen. So first off, I want to give many thanks to my Vice President, Mr. Scott Ballone. Board members James Bird, Christian Dapolito, Bruce Derahilo, Rick Derahilo, Sean Gleason, Joe Martucci, Bruce Monroe, Sean Ramcharan, Jeff Shaw, Chris Shea, and Joe Vaccarella. And I swear these are the last acknowledgments I have, and then we'll get started. We would also like to extend a sincere thank you for the generosity of our Matawan alumni family, our community leaders, and our business sponsors who make this banquet a reality. A special shout out also goes to Mr. Pat Tolan for assisting with photography, and Matawan football alumni Justin Jones for providing us with this awesome sound you're hearing tonight. In 2024, we celebrate 90 years of Matawan football. Let that sink in for 1 second. 90 years. That's special. Not a lot of places have that. Our legacy spans across decades and generations of families, many of which are even sitting in this room tonight. We have representatives from over 70 years of Matawan football present at tonight's ceremony. The Matawan Football Alumni Foundation continues to proudly support the Matawan Aberdeen school community by providing tens of thousands of dollars in student scholarships. We also support our community with capital improvement projects, such as the James Dwyer Memorial Alumni Park, which is located adjacent to Matawan Regional High School's football field. Our membership consists of community leaders, professional athletes, entrepreneurs, law enforcement officers, philanthropists, doctors, lawyers, elected officials, and professionals. We are all united by one thing. We are all Matawan Huskies. Tonight, we're pleased to honor several new Hall of Fame members who truly embody what it means to be a Husky. These alumni have displayed excellence, both on the playing field and in the game of life, while bringing pride to their community. It is my honor to congratulate our newest Hall of Fame members. Jared Allison, class of 2011. Nebraska Baker, class of 1993. Christian Dapolito, class of 2000. Alan Smutko, class of 1974. And the Husky Spirit Award, Mr. Butch Esposito. Although our backgrounds and lives have differed greatly after we walked off the playing field, we are all still united by the brotherhood of the Maroon and Steel. Quite often, lessons from football are still applicable in our daily lives. Teamwork, dedication, determination, and self-sacrifice are something every player that wears a Matawan uniform comes to learn. Being a Husky means believing in yourself and taking pride in your family and your community. It's about being part of something greater than yourself and extending that positivity out into the world. It's about hard work and forging ahead, regardless of circumstance, whether on the football field or in life. That is what Matawan football truly means. It is our greatest honor to help carry on that legacy and tradition with you all here tonight. We have a great program lined up for you all. And now I'd like to introduce one of the greatest men I know, a man who will always be my coach, Matawan's own Mr. Joe Martucci.
Great job. Tremendous job, John. You always seem to have the right words for the occasion. At this time, we're going to start with our salad. It should be coming out in a couple of minutes. But the first thing we're going to do is give out our Spirit Award. If you look in your program, we've kind of set this up just like a football game. As you can see, first quarter, second quarter, and so on. So I'm going to, at this time, give our Spirit Award. This year's Spirit Award goes to Mr. Henry J. Butch Esposito, class of 1969. Unfortunately, Mr. Esposito has passed away, and his family was not able to be here this evening, but I will read the accolades as to why Mr. Esposito has been chosen as the Spirit Award for this year. A talented craftsman and lifelong resident of Aberdeen, Esposito used his expertise in construction and his unwavering support of the school district to leave a legacy within our community. The owner and operator of Henway Utility Service, Esposito created the Seize the Day boulder and constructed the fire pit located near the concession stand. He even helped build the observation deck that was down in the far end of the baseball field so that we were able to film games and practices. He painted the scissor lift, which is still there, for the Maroon and Steel, an ode to the program. Esposito donated a blocking slate for the football team, erected the dugout for the baseball field. Simply put, whatever the school needed, Mr. Esposito made sure it got taken care of. The Matawan Borough Recreation Committee recognized Mr. Esposito's services in 1997 when they presented him with the Organization Appreciation Award for 7 years of dedication to the town's youth league. Mr. Esposito and his wife Eileen were also ardent supporters of the high school marching band. They were among the first color guard families to support the Marching Huskies and were also active in the parent-sponsored Maroon and Steel Club. This year's winner of the Spirit Award goes to Mr. Henry Esposito. And at this time, I'd like to bring up Chris Dapolito and Chris Shea to talk about films from the vault.
Thanks, Coach. Yep. Thanks, Coach. Good evening, everybody. So, as you know, this Matawan Football Alumni Foundation has been around for 19 years.
Chris, nobody can hear us yet.
They can't hear us yet?
Yeah.
Talk closer to the microphone here, bud.
I got you. Okay.
There you go.
Sing a song now.
So what we want to share with you this evening is, thanks to that man, Matawan behind us. We have gathered as many films that we have our hands on back to, I believe, the 40s or 50s. We have digitized every one of these films so that we can enjoy them. You can go back and watch your films with your kids, with your grandkids for the rest of the time.
Not tonight, right?
Not tonight. But we're extremely excited to present this to everybody. It did take a lot of effort by that man back there, and we are going to present this. We are going to have a fundraiser to support this, and we just wanted to share this with you. We think this would be one of the great legacies of our foundation to capture all the games of this great program. Chris, you want to add anything to that?
If you have any film that maybe left the high school, please let us know, because there are some years that we're missing a couple of the games. So what we'd love to do, if you have a film, get it to us. We'll get that digitalized and add it to the box. Absolutely. Anything else? I think we got it. But if you're interested in wanting to help us fundraise or have a passion to get these films, reach out to Chris and I, because we're looking for ways that we can raise money to get this done sooner rather than later. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, while everybody's enjoying the salad and waiting for the next course, we do have a special presentation this evening for the 4 inductees that are here tonight. Again, films from the vault. Mr. Pat Dolan has put this together, actually Bruce Darahilo put it together with film that Mr. Dolan had sent to him. So we're going to play this right now. Hopefully it'll get you in the mood, and then we will start with our presentations in the second half. All right, at this time, with halftime being over and coming back out for the next quarter, I'd like to bring up Mr. Rick Darahilo.
Yeah. You want help?
All right, good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear? All right, just a little bit of housekeeping before we start. First of all, I know John had thanked everybody, but I just want to thank you again from the Matawan Football Alumni Foundation for supporting our program and our student athletes. So thank you for coming out. Secondly, all our inductees, congratulations. You know, this honor is not something to be taken lightly, and it's everyone that's being inducted tonight. It's earned the distinction of being here. The graduating seniors, where are they at? Raise a hand. Are they here? All right. So, you know, congratulations to you guys. I know graduation's a few short months away. And once you leave Matawan, you're going to go on your own path, and we want to wish you all the luck in the world, no matter what you do or what path you take. And just remember, wherever that road leads you, once you leave Matawan, you're always going to be a Husky. All right, so congratulations. And then one last item before I get to, I'm sorry, I dropped something here. All right. Thank you. Sorry about that, Pat. Can you hear? You good? All right. And just one last thing. I just want to recognize our most senior Husky that's in attendance with us again this year from the class of 1949, Mr. John Scalzo. Again with us. An alumni hat. I'm sure you don't have one of these, but if somebody could help me out and pass that over to John, everything's sliding away here. Thank you. All right, that brings us to our first inductee tonight, and in order to get started here, we're going to take a little walk back in time to build a little foundation for our introduction here. All the way back to 1956. 1956 was the year that Mr. Barry Rizzo was named the head coach of the Matawan football program. And at that time, Mr. Rizzo believed that there were three things that he needed to be successful and to have a successful football team. One was that he needed a tough physical defense, and the other was a strong, punishing running game. So what he did, the defense was no problem. Back then, Matawan was mostly farmland, right? The older guys know that it was mostly farm. So he knew he was going to the farm to get his defense, right? These guys couldn't wait to get off of work and come play football. The second thing was that he needed, the second part of the equation was a more difficult one, and that was that he had to find some strong running backs that could have, get the single wing moving and get it going in the right direction. The third thing was that the people on offense had to be able to count to two. Right? Well, but all the football players know, right? Matawan's probably run 1 million plays in the 90 years that we played football, and since 1956, we always win on two. So if you couldn't count to two, you couldn't be on the team. So Mr. Rizzo introduced us to the single wing offense. And for those of you that are unfamiliar, single wing isn't a traditional offense. It doesn't have a traditional quarterback. It relies on the running backs and emphasizes running the football over throwing the football. So it didn't take long for Mr. Rizzo to implement his tenacious defense and his bruising offense. And it wasn't long before opponents realized that when they played Matawan always had a good running back. Always. Every year. Not every other year or every fifth year like a lot of other schools. Every year, Matawan had a great running back. And that started in 1959. The first one was Purvis Peeler. 1960 was Davy Jones. 1962 was Charlie Waddington. 1964 was George Morrell. 1966 it was Randy Davis. 1969 it was Tony Russell. 1970 it was Curtis Edwards. Every one of these guys is a Hall of Famer in his own right. And those were the names that came up, that filled in the 10 years before we got to the 70s. So that brings us up to 1971. That's when our first inductee, Alan Smucko, was brought up to the varsity and placed at fullback by Mr. Rizzo. And Mr. Rizzo didn't take too many sophomores and especially put them in the backfield. But there was a few, but Alan was definitely one of them. He's staying in that position for the next 3 years, his sophomore, junior, and senior year. So, what did he do? What did Alan Smucko do during his high school career that brought him to this point in his life to being inducted into the Hall of Fame? Well, in 1972, his junior year, he led the Shore Conference in scoring, the Shore Conference B division in scoring, with 21 touchdowns. Which, in 9 games, that's a lot of touchdowns. That season, he was also voted the most valuable player by his teammates. His 21 touchdowns that season made him one of only 4 Matawan running backs to be named the scoring champion in the county or the Shore Conference. The other 3 champions are also Husky Hall of Famers, Purvis Peeler, Randy Davis, and Gary Weber. For his 3-year varsity career, Alan Smucko scored 40 touchdowns. In 1973, he led the Huskies to the B Conference Championship. He was twice named to the Daily Register All-Monmouth County team. He also received all short honors from the Asbury Park Press. In total, Alan played 27 varsity games for the Huskies. And during that time, he did a lion's share of the running. And if you count back, all the times that he carried the ball, it's in the several hundreds of times. And one of the most incredible stats that came out of his career is that in all of those games and all of those carries, so several hundreds of carries, never one time did he fumble the football. Pretty impressive now. And he was pretty nifty on the field. You saw the run, right? He used to do that with a screen pass. That was his other specialty. If he wasn't running right at it, he'd pick up a screen pass and he'd be out 50 or 60 yards with that as well. Alan was a workhorse. He was a team leader and he was a great teammate, always putting the team first. And he's very humble. For those of you that don't know him, he's very humble. And all these things that you're hearing about him, you probably never hear from him. You'll hear from everybody else, but you never hear from Alan. Mr. Rizzo, who's unfortunately unable to be here tonight, sent along these words. He said, Alan was one of the greatest backs that I had the honor of coaching. And Mr. Rizzo coached a lot of backs. Alan's here tonight with his wife Judy. They have 3 children, and I don't know if this is the right order, but we're gonna go ladies first with sort of Katie, his son Gregory, and Stephen, as well as their 3 grandchildren, Brody, Cole, and Sawyer. And they're here tonight to witness Alan take his well-deserved place alongside all the other accomplished and talented Husky Hall of Fame running backs that made the single wing a force to be reckoned with. Alan, it's your time to speak.
I wish I could speak as well as you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody that put this. Put this banquet together tonight. An amazing job. Unbelievable. I'm proud that I was able to play 3 years for Coach Rizzo. Mr. Rizzo is one of the greatest coaches, one of the greatest men that I knew. And his coaching staff, unbelievable. Mr. Britton, Mr. Johnson. I want to thank all my friends and teammates who showed up tonight to support me. You guys are amazing. I want to thank my family for coming tonight and supporting me. I love you. And that's it. Alan said he was going to be brief. I asked him to keep it under 20 minutes. Brian, Alan, on behalf of the Matawan Football Foundation, I want to present you with your plaque and then a copy of the plaque that's going to go on the wall. And the wall, it'll be the plaque here will be on the wall tomorrow by about 9 a.m. So anybody that's traveling and leaving town, it'll be up on the wall by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. All right? Congratulations, Alan.
Alan, congratulations.
Thank you. I know you got your hands are full. This is your Hall of Fame member's pin. That's your letter. All right. That explains what the pin is. Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. Congratulations. I'm left-handed, so we probably.
All right, at this time, please enjoy your dinner, and we will continue with the presentation shortly. At this time, I'd like to bring up Mr. Chris Shea and Mr. Joe Vaccarella to introduce Mr. Nebraska Baker.
Good evening. First and foremost, I'd like to really recognize all the new inductees into the Hall of Fame. I've had the privilege and honor of watching 3 of them play. Mr. Smucko, I wasn't around for you, but the stories I heard, all very impressive. But I've been able to watch all of them, Nebraska, Chris, and Jared, and I can tell you, you guys were awesome athletes. What you guys did on the field made me jealous each and every day. The athletic ability that God gave you, the way you played the game, it was impressive. I enjoyed watching all you guys play. With that said, I'm privileged this evening to introduce the Nebraska Baker into the Hall of Fame, a teammate and a friend. You can read all the statistics about him, but he's an athletic specimen. He walks in 6'7", 250 pounds, runs a 4.7 40. Athletic ability out the wazoo. 2-time state champion, All-State 2 times in a row. He was All-Shore 3 times. He started varsity as a sophomore. Back in the day, very few people would ever achieve such a thing, let alone start as a senior was difficult in Matawan. But to start varsity as a sophomore, incredible accomplishment. I think what I'm most proud of about Nebraska, really what separates him, is him as a teammate. From an athletic standpoint, he had every accolade there was out there. If there was a top 10 in the country, Nebraska was on it. Blue chip All-American, colleges lined up at the door. But with all the accolades and awards and the attention that he never got a big head. He was a teammate from the very first start. He was a team person. In a day and age where most people play for the name on the back of the jersey, Nebraska played for the Huskies. It meant more to him to represent his town and his school than anything else. He made each and every one of us better out there. most importantly, his sense of humor. Nebraska, as a player, was able to come in and light the huddle up. If you needed a joke or needed to laugh at a practice, you could always count on Nebraska for bringing something funny. Nebraska was impressed with the play with you. You made each and every one of us better on the field. I'm happy to call you a teammate and a friend. Congratulations, long overdue, but I'm glad to see you in the Hall of Fame. I did want to pass it over to Joe, another teammate of his, to share some more.
Thanks, Chris. I kind of blew this for Bob Davidson, so I'm going to make it up tonight. I wrote some words down this time. So I met Nebraska Baker during middle school. I can still remember the day because up until that point, I was considered a big kid. And as far as my height was concerned, I was most definitely as tall as Ty Garland and a couple of other tall kids in 8th grade. When you're tall at that age, it's like a superpower. I was sitting in the auditorium and Nebraska stood up and caught my attention. It was early in the year. Someone sitting next to me was like, "That's Nebraska Baker, he's 6'4". Not only was he 6'4", he looked like the starting DN for the New York Giants in 8th grade. And just like that, my superpower vanished. I was fortunate enough to land a spot on the Matawan Ave basketball team. This team included guys like Rob Hutchinson, Wes and Ty Garland, Mike Shapatella, Tosh Rivera, and of course Nebraska. We were one of the best teams in the Jersey Shore and likely the state. Can you imagine trying to get to the hoop with Nebraska and Tyrone waiting for you? We even won the prestigious Run for the Roses tournament at St. Rose that year. As we entered high school, Nebraska was a centerpiece for athletics at Matawan. I was really proud to be his teammate, and he was one of the best teammates I had an opportunity to play sports with throughout my life. When we were in high school, everyone knew Nebraska. Even now as an adult, I run into people in other states that remember that kid, Nebraska Baker from New Jersey. Nebraska dealt with a ton of pressure simply because he was Nebraska Baker. I remember in our state title game versus Neptune, the entire opposing fan base chanting his name very loudly, but he never let that faze him. In fact, that day, he helped me on every play I was put in at nose guard, a spot I had never played in my football career. We all know the outcome of that game. We went for 2, and the rest is history. Throughout the 92 season, I played somewhat of a utility role for the team, but my primary role was D-tackle, opposite side in Nebraska. And this made for a ton of action for me, which I wasn't complaining about. Nebraska, of course, would always be funny in the huddle and say things to hype me up further than I already was. I have a lot of great memories from my senior year, and Nebraska is a very big part of that. One of my favorite memories is actually from practice. Coach Turner would always pin me up versus Nebraska in drills. You can't imagine how exhausting it was to try to beat him, and if you did, he'd congratulate you and then he'd laugh. Throughout our high school years, I never encountered another athlete like Nebraska. Not only did he have size, he moved well and was agile. It is no surprise to me that he holds the amount of accolades that he does. He was a supreme athlete. I brought my own boys here today so they can finally meet the guy named Nebraska that I always tell them stories about when talking about my glory days. I want to congratulate Nebraska for his induction to the Hall of Fame. It is very well deserved, and I'm honored that I had the opportunity to play alongside him during my high school career.
Can I have the mic back?
Yes, sir. I didn't know where to put it.
I'm going to try to get this back. You know, as a coach, sometimes you're very blessed to have some individuals come through your program over the years that, you know, speak louder than words. And, you know, when I saw Nebraska walk in as a freshman, and I obviously I knew where he was in the 8th grade, because we always scouted as much as we could to get as many kids to play football as possible. And, you know, when we saw him coming up, we knew that there was just an unbelievable person that had an opportunity to be very, very successful. And I think the the accolades that he's gotten over the years pale to the personality that he had. All right, and I think that's probably more than I remember, about the way he was able to take those accolades and just kind of put them on the side. He was a great teammate. He never wavered, feeling that he was better than anybody, and he just went out every day and worked hard. And I'll tell you, being the biggest kid on the field is not the easiest thing in the world. All right, everybody's gunning for you, and we put him in some tough situations. We also made him a punter, okay? And as Chris Stapolito can also attest, it's not the easiest position to be in. And I can remember one time, he was a pretty good punter actually, but I can remember one time we had this fierce wind in our face, and I asked him to punt the ball to get us out of trouble, and we ended up getting a -5 punt.
The wind wasn't that bad, Coach.
It wasn't. But the one thing that I can say about Nebraska is every time he stepped on the field, he played with his heart. He played as hard as he possibly could. And as you can see on that film, when he ran to the ball, he was getting to the ball. All right. It gives me great privilege and pleasure to be able to be part of the organization that puts Nebraska Baker in our Hall of Fame because it's well deserved. Nebraska, great job.
Oh, wow. It's funny being here and actually being inducted into the Hall of Fame as a Husky, because when I first moved to the neighborhood, y'all had just won a state championship and I didn't know nothing about it. Nothing about it. And I knew it was a very competitive town I had moved to because I knew nobody on the block, but I ran into a couple Rogers and they challenged me to a race around the block and I didn't even know who they were. So, and besides them and the Garland backyard, Tyrone called Nebraska. Hey man, my dad wants you to come over here and play basketball with me and Wesley. I never really wanted the accolades I got. I just wanted to be around my friends. I didn't think nothing of it. I just knew I didn't want Tyrone to be better than me. Period. I had nothing. But I don't know, for the first time, Toots, I think I finally learned how to get out of my own way. Toots used to tell me that all the time, like, Nebraska, you're destined for greatness if you just get out your own way. And me being so young, I never knew what that meant. What's getting out of my own way? My eyes are open. I know where I'm going. There's nothing in front of me. And he's like, if you look in the mirror, you know what I'm talking about. And I look in the mirror every day and I understand what he meant. Like sometimes a natural ability that you have, you don't know you're blessed with unless you actually work on your craft or think about what you're doing or the people you got behind you. And sometimes I just feel like I let a lot of people down, or like really a community down, because I suppose they came back and done great things here. And I left that on the table. I think that's why I didn't come home as much as I was supposed to. I just felt like I let my community down. You know, I've seen people go off and do great things and come back and help their community, and I wasn't one of them. So I felt disappointed about that. But, you know, with the help of great friends and the community that I had, and people always, when I did show my face, they always patted me on my back and always told me how proud they were. And it meant a lot. So when I first got the call about this, I wasn't going to come. I really didn't think I could really show my face like that. But my daughter told me, she's like, Dad, if you don't show up, you'll regret this to your grave. Those are your friends. I said, nah, that's my family. I just want to let you know I'm a Husky forever and I love y'all. Amen.
Nebraska.
Appreciate you.
That's for you, my friend.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Which one I get?
Get off.
Oh, you're getting all of them. Mama, I made it.
Joe, you good? Let's get this back down to a normal height. At this time, I'd like to bring up Mr. Scott Balone to introduce our next inductee, Chris Stapolito.
Hey, how you all doing tonight? All right. So I've been on this committee for 19 years, and during those 19 years, I've had the pleasure of meeting Chris Stapolito, a Matawan football legacy. Chris saw firsthand what it was to be successful on the gridiron. His father, Frank, played for Coach Barry Rizzo. Chris left his own mark at Matawan Regional during his scholastic career, playing 4 seasons as the Huskies from 1990 to 99. I'm sorry, 1990. I don't have my glasses. 99. I got all my notes. Serving as a team starting quarterback as a sophomore, junior, and senior. Chris was elected team captain and earned All-State and All-Shore in conference. After he redshirted at Rutgers, Chris transferred to Duke, where he was a 3-year letter winner for the Blue Devils from 2002 to 2004. Chris played in 24 games as quarterback during his collegiate career and was again elected team captain in 2004. Chris showcased in several games during his time in Durham, including a 2-touchdown performance against Florida State in 2002, and a win in state rival North Carolina on the road in 2003. After college, Chris spent a couple of years as a player coach in the European League. Also ventured in acting, and he's a member of the Screen Actors Guild. I'm not going to mention who. Continuing his relationship with football, Stapolito worked as 2 seasons assistant coach at Pace University before he was named the program's head coach in 2010. When he took over the Settlers at the age of 28, he was the youngest coach in the country. Chris moved on from coaching in 2013, found success in the financial industry. He's the director of the Northeastern Financial Network and also at Duke University Initiative Committee, where he uses experience and expertise in sight to support Duke football and student athletes' success both on and off the gridiron. Also, I'd like to congratulate him this week. He just had his 3rd child, Greta. He's following after Jason Kelsey from Philly with 3 girls. So at this time, I'd like to bring up Christian. That's all. Go ahead, say a few things tonight.
Yeah. Go ahead, Coach.
You know, great coaches are only made because of great players. And, you know, the accolades that I've received over my career basically are because of the staff that I had, Mr. Turner, who's been by my side through the 28 years that I was the head coach. And then as you can see, the Hall of Fame players that have come through here and have been inducted and will be inducted, okay, it has a lot to do with the success that Matawan's had over that period of time. There's no question in my mind that the greatest quarterback that's ever come through our program. And you guys can say whatever you want about the past, but Chris Appolito was the greatest quarterback that's ever come through our program. There's no question about it. We were unfortunate that in the senior year we didn't make the playoffs. We had a great record. We were 6-2 going in, but unfortunately at that time they only took 4 teams, and we didn't make the power points. But we destroyed the team that won the states that year. They got there, Neptune. Chris had a 300-yard passing game. Coach Principi, who had come on board a couple of years before Chris came to us, was a great quarterback coach and did an outstanding job in helping to mature Chris become the player he was. And in that particular game, as you can see, we did a lot of running. And Principi would say, throw the ball. I said, well, we'll call him Boots and Waggles. He keeps running. What do you want from me? So, but in the Neptune game, we devised a plan that we knew that was the only way we were going to win the game, is if we could throw the ball. And Chris had a phenomenal game that day. And it's one game that I'll always remember the rest of my life. John Amabile was a phenomenal coach, legendary coach in the Shore, came over and said, where the hell did you come up with that game plan with? He said, we thought we had you guys dead to rights. I said, well, John, every time you step on the Matawan field, you got a shot at getting beat. And we were fortunate that day. But to have had Chris as a player, to have him as a friend, as time went on, Chris moved to Rutgers and then Duke. He was mentored by an unbelievable quarterback coach, Mario Verduzco. And John Principi, who was my quarterback coach at the time, had left. And I had only coached running backs and linebackers up to that time, primarily through my career. And I needed a quarterback coach. So at that time, I latched on to Mario and I latched on to Chris and tried to learn as much as I possibly could. And he's been a tremendous person in my development as a quarterback coach over the years. And now I can call him friend besides player. So congratulations, Chris.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Scott. It is truly humbling to be here tonight. My whole life, I wanted to be a Matawan Husky. Before I get to that point, though, I do want to thank my wife. She's home. She wanted to be here tonight. She gave birth Monday night, almost 3 weeks early to our third girl. They're all under 5. And I want to congratulate all the other inductees. Alan, congratulations. I just learned tonight you play with Paulie, my cousin, man. It's just awesome. We have such a legacy in Matawan football. Nebraska, that was one of the most heartfelt speeches I've ever heard in my life. I looked up to you as a kid. And, I thought I was a pretty good quarterback until I saw Jared Allison. I mean, it was an unbelievable athlete and such a pleasure, such a proud moment to see you play, and your career was just incredible. So congratulations to all you guys. And I want to thank MTAP. 19 years. This school is recognizing football players in the Hall of Fame. I think it's the most special thing to be up here to recognize the great tradition that this school has and to continue to do it. We have to do it forever. And Bruce, Rick, Scott, Bubba, Bird, John, you do an amazing job, Sean and Ram, and there's many other people. It's just unbelievable that you do this, and I'm so proud to be a part of this organization. It took an entire community for me to be here tonight. I needed a lot of mentorship, I needed a lot of help, and it started with these two right here, Frankie and Susie, my parents. Yes. My mother was at every game with cookies in hand, no matter what the weather. And my father, as Ricky left him off, man. He's one of the great running backs in the early 60s for Matawan, for Barry Rizzo. But as a kid, he had this scrapbook of newspaper clippings that I would thumb through. And that was my first exposure to Rizzo, to Butch Britton. And I'd hear about Peeler and Davis and all these great running backs in Morrell. And I was just like, man, I want to be a Husky. And so every Saturday at 1 o'clock, those were the games. It was the highlight of my week. And my dad would take me in the gold Nissan, the golden seal, we'd call it, right, buddy? And man, we'd go to Johnny's Cozy Corner, and I'd get French toast and a milkshake, and Johnny was still the cook. He cooked when my dad was in high school, and he was still the cook then. It was unbelievable, and I have so much family that went to Matawan. My brother's here. He was in the drum line. I was in the band with him. He drove me to high school. My freshman year, senior year, I'm sure he loved it. My aunt and uncle here, Mike and Josie, and my cousin. My cousin played in the 90s. I looked up to him so much, I still look up to him, and I had the pleasure of working with him. And like I said, my cousin Paul, there's so many people in my family. Husky was, it was going to be. It was inevitable that I was going to be a Husky. When I got to high school, well, let me just back up. As a kid going every Saturday to these games, Magic Mitter was my favorite player. Nebraska Baker, I wanted to be you. Tyrone Garland, Lawrence Katz. There were so many players that I just couldn't wait to be. And I remember, Joe, you guys used to walk out of the locker room and you'd go down the steps, hand in hand. And all the kids would gather at the steps, and you get to be really close. And you thought these dudes were big as hell. In Nebraska, you are big as hell, right? When you're a little kid. And you're like, oh my God, I want to be these guys in the 3 stripes. And you just couldn't wait. It was magical. It was magical. And then I finally got to high school. Freshman year, John Gearin, Coach Fumarola. Man, you guys taught us how to win. You taught us how to compete. You got the tradition going. And then, I had the luxury of playing as a sophomore at quarterback. And I needed help, man. I didn't play football a whole lot. I played for Bob Shea, Chris Shea's father. Man, I was a lineman. I got cut from quarterback, I was terrible. The coaching staff on our squad was unreal. John Principi was our quarterback coach. Buddy Scott, who's here tonight. Buddy, I don't know if you remember, you had a conversation with me recently. I went to Rutgers, man. So inspirational, so unbelievable. Ian Foreman. Sam Turner, who's here. John Thornton. Sam, you recruited me to play track. Coach Thornton. Coach Thornton, you were throwing javelins together. Listen, as a father of 3 girls, I can only hope that if they play sports, coaches like I had at Matawan. They put the time in. They put the love in. They mentored me. They knew how to push my buttons at the right time, and I loved playing football. It was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And of course, Coach Martucci. He's a leader of men, incredibly inspirational. As Freddie pointed out, still intimidating today, right?
I said that. I said it.
And I don't know if anybody brought a community together like Joe. Just unbelievable. You look at, one of our Spirit Award inductee, Butch Esposito. I got to play with his son, Brian Esposito. And Butch was just unbelievable, as you heard before. He just supported our program financially, emotionally, spiritually, was always there. And just, he was a shot of life, man. He was always having fun and always wanted us to do well. But Coach Martucci played for Rizzo, had tremendous success, and he built on it. He built on what Rizzo brought to the program and won several championships and just made all of the Matawan Huskies that played for him just one of the most magical times of our lives. And, it's just unbelievable, and I hope we get back to that point. Coach, thank you so much, man. You showed us the Husky way. You knew the tradition. You built on the tradition. And, man, I just love it. I think about it all the time. I want to talk about my teammates. I started early. There were guys that took me underneath their wing. Shane Vergari, Bubba Esposito, Brian Shea. These guys made sure I was in the weight room. They made sure I knew how to compete, how to win. They were incredible players in their own right. As a sophomore, I handed the ball off to Mike Postel, who is by far the greatest player I've ever been around, even in college. He was the greatest running back. He'll be in this Hall of Fame very soon. My life was easy, handing the ball off to Mike Postel. Fred Rungy. Freddie, we grew up on the same street, SC Drive. We went to school together, classes together, we played baseball together. We got to play all 4 years. You were the first call, man. When I got inducted to the Hall of Fame, you're every part of this as I am. And it's just an amazing experience. I love you to death. And the fact that you're here tonight, that you took time away from your family to celebrate this with me, I love it, man. I love you. I love you. My senior year, there were a lot of guys, a lot of shoes to fill. The junior class was incredible. A lot of D1 guys. And we stepped up. We didn't make it to the playoffs, as Joe said, but it was so much fun. It was so fulfilling. Guys like George Theus, Matt Tucker, Kenny Robinson, Chris Herring. These guys were unbelievable, and so many more that I'm not even mentioning. And once again, there was a sophomore running back in Kevin Davis that I got to hand the ball off to, who was one of the leading running backs in the short conference history. 1,000-yard rusher as a sophomore. I mean, life was easy as a quarterback when he got these guys. It's unbelievable. So it's incredibly humbling to be here. It took the entire community. But I'm looking at you now, man. Even today, you were always there when I was in college. You're always there for me. You're still there for me today. One of the most inspirational people, an incredible player in Matawan. I just love you to death too, man. And there's one more person I got to thank. Michael Hirsch. He was on the sidelines. He was at the games, every game. I met him in 8th grade. He wasn't dealt the greatest deck in life. He was in a wheelchair. And he had the absolute greatest attitude in life. And if he was alive today, man, he'd be here and he'd be the most proud. I love him to death, and I can't think about my career and Matawan without him. It took everybody, and I left out a lot of people, and I'm so sorry, but it took everybody, and I just love it so much. I always wanted to be a Husky, and I'm so proud and humbled to be here. So thank you all. Thank you so much.
The one thing I did leave out that I did want to mention is that when Chris came in as a freshman, the Pop Warner coaches told me, this kid will never be a quarterback. He played defensive line his whole life. So I thank God that we figured out that he wasn't a defensive lineman.
I didn't know you were so bad at punt decisions either.
Yeah.
I had like a negative punt too, man.
Yeah, speaking freshman year, Red Bank, right? We're down on like the 5-yard line, and Chris is punting for us, and I'm standing on about the 35-40 on the other side. And I'm going, Chris, punt it over here, because they had a great returner. He punted about 5 yards out of bounds. So they got the ball on the 10-yard line. Anyway, congratulations, Chris, and it's a great pleasure to have been here to see this. Our last inductee, getting to the end of the third quarter. I have the pleasure of introducing him tonight. One, if not, the most dynamic players to have ever worn the maroon and steel. Ever. And that describes this individual to a T. You can, his nicknames, whatever you want to call him, Little Vic, whatever the situation is, the bottom line is the guy had magic in his feet. And it was just an unbelievable journey for us for the 4 years that he was at Matawan High School. Allison led the Huskies to 3 state playoff appearances. The only reason he missed one was because he got injured. And there's one thing I told his dad was really upset with me when he was a freshman because we didn't run him more, do more. And I said, listen, I'm telling you, Frankie, he's a baby, 13, 14 years old. I'm not going to punish this kid. He's got a great future ahead of him. And in his sophomore year, he ended up tearing a piece of bone away from his left hip, right? It was an avulsion fracture in the Ocean game, which we were winning at the time, and ended up losing, and that cost us the opportunity to get there. But we'd have been there 4 years in a row. He led the Huskies to 3 state playoff appearances, 2 divisional titles, 2 sectional title games, and the state championship as a junior in 2009. That season, Allison drew for, go ahead, you can clap. That season, Allison threw for 1,050 yards and 11 touchdowns and ran for another 10 scores and capped his junior campaign with a 28-12 win over Matawan in the Central Jersey Group 2 Final at Trenton University. The list of Allison's accolades during his high school career is extensive. A two-time team captain, Allison was an all-state, all-conference, and all-county selection and was named to both the Class A Offensive Player of the Year and the Old Spice Red Zone Player of the Year. He was also named the MVP in his junior year of the state championship game. Allison was also named the Monmouth County and Liberty Division Player of the Year and took home the Offensive MVP honors in the New Jersey All-State North-South game. Jared Allison earned a scholarship to New Hampshire, where he was a 4-year letter winner at a wide receiver for the Wildcats. It gives me great pleasure to finally put this young man into our Hall of Fame, because it is definitely one of the most deserved individuals that I can ever remember going into our Hall of Fame. Jared Allison.
Well, I had a lot that I was going to say today, but as you can see, I'm fighting back a lot of tears right now. You know, when Nebraska came up here, there's a lot that, I could relate to that as well. That, as being a quarterback and playing at, that level, it's a lot of pressure. Once I started watching the film here earlier, the tills started coming down. I felt like, there was a lot of shoes in my family that I had to fill. My parents, grandparents, the Allisons, the Rogers. And just being able to play at the level that I did in high school. Everybody's goal is to make it, to the NFL. After college, I wrapped my career up then. And I'll be honest, for probably like...
You got this, baby.
For probably about like 2-3 years. Damn.
You good, baby.
For about 2-3 years, I was probably a little depressed. I didn't want nothing to do with football. Didn't want to watch it, coach it, anything. But the one thing you learn from football is you can't dwell on the past. You can't dwell on the future. You just have to take it day by day. And as long as you, do what you got to do daily, and keep stacking more wins than losses, you'll always be successful. So I got through that stage, doing a lot better now, and just sitting up here, I think about it. I remember the day my father used to bring me to see all my older cousins play, and I always wanted to, that's the first time I asked him to, I want to play football. Season already started, so I had to wait till next year. One thing I did realize after the first 3 months of playing football is I did not like getting hit at all. So, I guess, I learned from that, because one of the main reasons I'm up here today is because my ability to make people miss, right? So, make people miss and score touchdowns got me through getting hit. Now, as I grew, I got more adjusted to the physical aspect of it. But, and similar to what, Dab said was, I feel like one of the greatest feelings in the world was scoring a touchdown. Breaking 60, 70 yards, running down your home sideline where you can see all of your teammates, your coaches jumping up and down, pointing to the end zone. hearing the crowd just roar. And then when you actually get in the end zone and turn around, it was just a stadium full of celebration. That right there was just enough motivation to me to I needed to just make sure I did that every game because I just loved that feeling. Another feeling that I loved was every single night game, just going to the top of those stairs. When you just see those lights on that field, you can't really see nothing else. You just know it's just game time. When you get to the bottom of those stairs, you got all the little kids, dapping you up. You have all your family members, friends, some people you don't even know, just telling you like, hey, we got to get this game done. We got to make it happen. All of that little bit of motivation was all I needed to just go out there and just leave it on the field every single day. First I want to thank God for giving me the ability to play at the level that I have. I also want to thank Him for allowing me to be alive today, to be up here in front of you all. I want to thank, my parents for everything they've done. Here it goes. I want to thank them for everything they've done my whole life, not even just for football, just in general. They've been there to support me to every single game. My mother was out there with a camera recorder, just with a camera filming every single game since Pop Warner. My father, was pushing me in every type of way possible to be successful at anything I wanted to do. And they're the main reason on why I am, the man I am today. After that, the family, I didn't really think I would have this much support, which I don't know why, because they've been here to support me my whole life through the ups and downs. Good games, bad games, right? They were still there for me. Teammates, coaches, you guys play a lot more into this success than you guys think. I get all the shine from time to time, but at the end of the day, it's still a team sport. You can't do it without the coaches, and you can't do it without your teammates. To the fans, to the committee, it's an honor to be up here right now. I'm definitely blessed to be up here, and this is definitely a moment that I'm gonna cherish forever. So once again, thank you all for the support, and let's celebrate this night together.
Jared had a tremendous career. There's no question about it, and everybody knows what his accolades are. But it was funny that coaches would come up to me at the end of the season, and they would say to me, "How could you run so much quarterback draw and get away with it?" And I said, "It wasn't quarterback draw. They were drop back passes. He just found a lane and took off." And I said the only good thing was to put the ball in his hands. So I can remember one specific time in his. I don't know, it was juniors, I think it was the senior year against Raritan.
Oh, yeah.
We played Raritan and we beat him during the regular season, pretty nifty. And we came to the playoffs, we had to play him again. And it was 14-14. It was a tough game. And all of a sudden, Allison Magic took over. And it was just, all of a sudden, we scored 3 touchdowns in like a minute and 50 seconds. And the game was over at halftime. So, again, I owe a lot of my success, obviously, to the players that are here tonight and the players that have been put in the past. And Jared, no matter how long I live, I'll never ever forget the times that you played for me, because they were exciting. So congratulations.
There you go.
All right, at this time, I'd like to bring up Mayor Altamonte and Deputy Mayor Margaret Montone. Unfortunately, our Aberdeen Mayor Fred Taglioni was not able to be here this evening. He is on a family vacation.
Good evening, everyone. Beside me, I have Councilwoman Margaret, Deputy Mayor Margaret Montone. What we'd like to do, first I'll say a few words. If we could bring up all the inductees, and then I'll have Deputy Mayor Varadine say a few words also. Nebraska, Jared, my God, I was in tears over there. Anyway, on behalf of Matawan, myself and the council, we congratulate the inductees, and we proudly present you with our proclamation. So please, all the inductees, please come up.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to spend another really nice evening with so many familiar faces from the Matawan Regional High School. Today it is my pleasure to be able to give out these proclamations to the winners of tonight, inductees. So thank you so much. Hi, how are you? I have yours here. Nebraska. You graduated with my son. Dennis, my son. Yeah. Yeah, we will. Wait, let me get the rest of it. Jared? My husband ran back. Oh, yeah? That's a good story. I love all the That's
Yeah, I want to get a picture with my guy. Let the council go. I'll get it. I'm going to do it next.
Get in, Joe. We're never going home.
She's gonna be able to be sure. You're not on football, right? No. Okay. Make sure.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good.
Yeah.
Nice vacation. See your granddad. Very well.
Very authoritative. Look at the authoritative presidential. Look at the presidential thing.
All right, at this time, we have a couple of seniors that are here this evening. Unfortunately, sometimes the dates don't work out with everybody as far as the works are concerned. I'd like to bring up the three seniors that are here. And Mr. Wells, our building principal, if you would hand out the senior awards. Aiden, Jordan, and Tommy. All right, get them.
Come back around.
George. Yeah. Gentlemen, these awards are from the Alumni Association, right? Tommy, Hayden, congratulations. I understand you're alumni now, so you're always welcome to be here, right? And don't forget where you came from. That's what's important, right? Okay. Anything, look, I know the coach is not around, so anything we can do for you, that's part of all, right? Coach, you committed? Yeah, CW, that's good. Good morning. You guys want to turn around? Mike, please. Good. One more. Tommy, you give me that shot.
All right, guys, we still have to announce the winner of the 50-50 so we can get everyone's attention. If you have yellow tickets, bust out your yellow tickets now. The winner will get $125. All right, our winning ticket for tonight, 962 120. Again, that's 962 120. Anybody? All right, we're gonna do it. Hold on.
Let me go check. Let me check with Tommy.
What's it again?
962 120. All right, 24-second shot clock on the 50-50 winner. Otherwise, we're going to put you on the ticket. All right, going once. 962 120. Going twice. All right, time for another ticket. You got one of the kids. We're gonna have one of the Spunko grandchildren pick the winning ticket, if that's okay. Oh, she got a winner. She got a winner there. All right. 50-50 winner, 962076. 962076. Oh, we got a winner? We got a winner? 962076. Oh, we got a winner, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a big round of applause. All right. So that brings us to an end of our program. You can. Who won? We'll go to the scholarship. Yeah.
I'll take that back. I'm in the Hall of Fame.
What's All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tyrone Garland is our winner. And he is generously donating back the winnings to the Matawan Football Alumni Foundation Scholarship Fund. Give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our 2024 dinner. Congratulations to our award recipients. Thank you all for your support. Let's go Huskies. See you guys next year.
USC, baby.